G'day guys, how's it going? I got a parcel in the mail this morning which I wanted to share with you guys because a lot of you guys watching me are probably starting out with blacksmithing and you might find this informative. I live on the east coast of Australia, which during this time of year it gets ridiculously hot. Some days as high as, for you guys across the pond, some days as high as 120 degrees. And because I run a solid fuel forge, as anyone who follows me knows, that makes forging not just difficult, but dangerous. So my mate Sam Towns, who you should definitely follow, and I'll put his link below, he actually made some tools for me because I needed some custom tooling and wasn't in a position to be able to make it. Even now, you know, it's almost April and I'm just absolutely sweating here. But he made some great new tooling for me and I wanted to actually show it off to you guys because not only is it awesome, amazing stuff, and I want to show off Sam's work, but also anyone who's getting into the craft might find interesting which tools are very useful to have, and I'm going to talk about what they're used for. So, first up, bladesmithing tongs. Now, up until this point, I had modified a pair of drum brake calipers and welded on some little calipers there and was using those. Great for smaller knives, but just didn't do the trick when I wanted to do some bigger projects. And in Sam's care package, he actually sent me some barriers rust, but they make some great knives, and he's actually got a series of knives called his file fighter knives, which are made from them, and you need some hefty tongs. So he's left them fairly raw for me because tongs are a very personal thing for a blacksmith and you want to shape the handles to what suits you. But as you can see, they open up and grab quite large knives, so much better than the ones that I had hacked together. And you'll notice that they are hand riveted. Now, hand riveting is superior to a bolt in Tongland, and I wanted to be able to do my own tongs in future. Riveting sets are easy to make, but like I said, boiling hot. So Sam also made me a riveting set. Now you'll notice that this is offset. It's so that I can use this same block to create other size rivets if I just make the matching header. And he's made them very nicely polished on the inside, and you can just get your rivets sorted out. Now, if you're making your own riveting, you need to be able to make rivets. You can buy pre-made rivets, but if you can make them, what you need for that is a monkey tool. And Sam made me one of these as well, made of, I think, 4140 steel. And it's got the right size there. It goes down 40 mil, I think it is. And so you slide your 10 mil round in there, leave extra at the top, and you grab that rivet set tool, cram that down, bam, bam, bam on the top, and it creates a nice domed head against this flat surface. Dunk it in your quench tank, out pops a rivet, and you can use that to rivet your own tongs when you make them. Very cool, and you'll see me making some very interesting, unique tongs very soon. Going to be making parallel jaw flat bar tongs. That's something you don't see very often in blacksmithing. But then, Sam also sent me a new hammer. Now, everybody has their personal taste with hammers, and when I'm working stock down, my favorite is 2.5 pound rounding hammer. A rounding on one side, flat face on the other side, nicely faced, and it really gets stock down well. I know a lot of people use bigger hammers. I am very confident in my masculinity, so I can just sit with a 2.5 pound hammer. If you don't get that reference, you should be listening to the ForgeCast, the podcast that I'm on, especially the episode about hammers. And then I'll usually move down to an 800 gram, which I think is about 1.7 pounds. And I have a lot of control to be able to get the detail that I want because I do a lot of ornamental stuff. But then I usually move down to this one. This was my old hammer. 450 gram ball peen that has been refaced to be a little bit more suitable for blacksmithing. And I will then sit on all my detail work on this puppy. And I can use this all day long, and I can move steel in ways that you would not believe because I'm holding it way up here and getting quite a lot of leverage. But not a blacksmithing hammer. Great for, you know, it's better than no hammer, but not a blacksmithing hammer. Sam Towns made me one of his dog's head hammers. Forward weight, and it is closely matched to that ball peen that I was showing you. This is just over 500 grams for the head. Beautiful for detail work. He's nicely faced the front on it there. And that forward weight allows, when you're beveling in blade bevels, I like to hammer them in first, reduce on grinding time. Traditionally, Norse blacksmiths and Japanese blacksmiths have used forward-weighted dog's head hammers, because when you have the anvil at the correct height and use a normal hammer where the shaft is coming here, you are hitting flat very often. But if it's forward-weighted, you're going to be hitting more at a natural angle. You can hit over the blade and get really nice level bevels. Takes a little bit of practice, but not much. And I've been wanting a dog's head hammer for ages, and I've wanted a Sam Towns hammer, frankly, for ages. I've got a list of a few smiths that I really want to hammer from. Seth Wood, if you're watching this, you're next, mate. But Sam Towns, he's got his initials there, which is nice. But yeah, very much looking forward to putting a handle on this. Once again, handling of hammers, it's a very personal thing to the blacksmith. Some people are happy to just grab any hammer and work with it. Some people like me get really anally retentive about it. But the lovely surprise on Sam's hammerhead that he's made here is that he took the time to grave in the Valhalla Ironworks logo. Look at that, isn't that great? So while I'm working, I'm just gonna see that facing me all the time. That is a lovely little personal touch. You didn't have to do that, Sam, but I very much appreciate it. And you've got it so nice too. I'm gonna have to get you to do all my touch marks from now on. So, that's not all, because like I said, I wanted to be able to make my own tongs, and the rivet set, fantastic for making my own tongs. But I also want to make my own hammers, and I want to make my own axes. Just little ones, nothing like felling axes or anything, just tomahawks, throwing axes, you know, woodscraft axes, so Viking fighting style axes and things. So, to do that, you need two things. You need a slitting punch, or a slitting chisel, and a drift for the size shaft that you want to put through it. Sam Towns provided. He created this wonderful slitting chisel, ground to perfection, ready to be handled, because I specifically requested one that can be handled. And this would be perfect for something that's a bit like, I'm still working with something like 1 inch square stock. But you will get, with this, an appropriate hole for something that looks a bit like that. A sort of oval shaped, not your teardrop style that you might expect. That was a deliberate move on my part, so you know, go easy in the comments. I want to get started with it. Haven't made hammers before, know the process back and forward, but doing it is another matter. But this is going to get me there. Nicely tempered top, you can see the bluing there, so it's nice and soft, bits won't fly off that in any great hurry. Just got to handle it up and it'll be ready to go. Once I have knocked out a slug with this puppy, I then move on to this drift. Same thing, nicely tempered blue at the top, ground to perfection, punch that through and get myself a nice eye. But that's not all. Sam also was generous enough to send me a graver set. Just a beginner's graver set. You know, I got a flat one and I got a little angled one there. And I've already had a play with it. Check out my Instagram profile and you will see my early experimentation. I was going to show it here, but I took them back over the other side of my workshop and I'm not going to go over there now. So, graver sets. Now these are good enough to work on steel. So far I've only practiced on aluminium. Next I'm going to be working on brass. And then once I've felt more comfortable with those and I haven't messed these up because of my ineptitude, I'm going to move on to mild steel or steel in general. Because things like hammers like this, wouldn't they just look prettier with a bit of graver work along there? And if I'm going to be making axes, why not make good looking axes? Because that is my mission after all, as I've discussed in the past. It is to make beautiful versions of functional things. I don't care what the things are. They don't necessarily have to be knives, they don't have to be tongs, they don't have to be, you know, hairpins and things. I don't care what it is, I just want it to be as beautiful as it is functional. So gravers play a big role in that. Now, that is the entirety of the order. However, he did also send me 2 large farrier's rasps, as I mentioned, and a pile of railroad spikes, which is very nice of him as well, because I live in a place that has hundreds of blacksmiths, so every time I go to a flea market or something like that to try and find something, all of the files are gone, all of the rasps are gone, all the railroad spikes are gone. Those people get in before me, so you guys know who you are if you're watching. But I usually get there slow. I'm not a mornings person, and I think that is to my detriment. What a haul, hey? I mean, I'm really chuffed about those items. They look great, they feel great, nice weight to them. I think they're going to last a very long time, and you'll get to see me using them in upcoming videos. Like I said, next big project is the parallel jaw flat bar tongs, which is a very rare kind of tong. You do not see them very often. Other people have made them, but it's very uncommon. Getting it to work properly is another quest altogether, so we'll see how it goes. But I am boiling down here in my workshop, so I am going to, I think, hide in aircon and edit this video. Until that point, definitely subscribe if you haven't already, like this video if you liked it, and check out the ForgeCast, which is the podcast that myself, Sam Towns, and Niels Uggen are the co-hosts of, and it's on all major platforms: iTunes, Spotify, Chatbox, Simple Chat, the works. I'll put a link in the video description to get to the latest episode. The latest episode, I'm very pleased to announce, we had Roy Adams as a guest. Roy Adams from Christ-Centered Ironworks, the one, the only, the very talented Roy Adams, and he was an absolute delight to talk to, and we are hoping very much to have him on the show again, which he has expressed interest in, which, you know, that just gives me the fizz. So definitely check out that episode of the podcast, and if you like the show, subscribe to the podcast as well. It's free, it'll always be free, and we release an episode at the end of every single week. So I'm off, I gotta cool down, maybe get some fluids in me. I don't handle heat for someone who chose blacksmithing as a career. But that'll be changing soon, the heat will be changing, and there'll be more news on that. I'm going to be moving somewhere much colder. So I'll see you guys later. Enjoy.